So lately I've been doing some of my own personal projects outside of the, business projects that I have to do that make me money. And, my friends love coming to my studio space, coming up in here, drinking all of my Perrier, but that is okay. What I want to do today is take you through one of my most recent shoots with my friend Victoria. And what we did is we wanted to optimize our time, together, where we're going to do 3 looks in 1 photo shoot. The camera of choice, of course, is the Sony A7Iv. And throughout this video, I'm going to tell you some things about the Sony A7Iv because I'm going to do a 1 year later review talking about my experience with the camera. So we're going with the 3-light setup. It is my go-to 3-light setup. We have the key light, which is always going to be the Nanlite Forza 300B. It's a bicolor light that'll come into play later on in this video. We also have the Nanlite Forza 150. That is another light that Nanlite sent over to me. That is going to be our fill light, the back fill light. And our hair light is going to be the Nanlite PavoTube 30Cs. These I actually bought with my own money. Now there will be a 4th light, okay? That's a specialty light. I'm gonna bring it up later on in the video. You already kind of see a little glimpse of it right here in the back over my little shoulder. For the lenses, of course, we have the Sigma Art series. That is going to be the 24-70, the 35mm, and the 50mm. Now let's walk through the looks. For look 1, we're only using 2 lights. That is going to be the fill light and the key light that I have placed behind Victoria. For the key light, I'm using a parabolic softbox by Nanlite. And for the fill light, I'm using a strip softbox also by Nanlite. So in our research, we already knew what we wanted to do. Victoria already wanted to do a denim look. The other thing we knew we wanted to do was include something where she could sit on it, whether it be a chair or a stool. I so happen to have 3 stools in the home, so we were like, hey, let's use that as a prop that is going to be where we place you in the photo. So one of the tips I'm gonna give you when you're doing your studio portraits is don't be afraid to get an assortment of shots. What I mean by that is get your wide shots, get some full body shots, but you also wanna make sure you get some up close portrait shots, okay? Because you never know, you may have a model that can really work their face and they understand how to, get the right facial expressions that really make the photo come alive. Quickly, I wanna talk about why you would use a stool or any other type of chair in the shot. That way you can kind of use that chair, that stool as another character in the shot. So we're gonna use this, we're gonna make her pose with it. So you want the model and whatever that prop is to kind of have a relationship. You want them to mesh and marry and kind of be one in that photo. So don't be afraid to be versatile with your props any type of way you can. Look number 2, Victoria wanted to go with a swimsuit look. We had already gone through the inspo, so I knew, kind of had an idea of how to light it, but we bring that 3-light setup in. So now not only am I using the Nanlite Forza 300 and 150, as my key in my field, now I'm adding that hair light, which is the Nanlite PavoTube, okay? And the reason why I'm having that up there is now I can feel the top, all right? You wanna make sure you have a hair light to really kind of create that 3D effect around your subject. Another thing I would recommend, if you have something like barn door, you can also control that lighting to make sure it doesn't spread. But in this case, I actually wanted it to spread because we were using a white backdrop. So I wanted to make sure that we really filled in that white, made it really bright and had her popping out of that backdrop. The essential ways I like to shoot, and this goes for any type of thing. This can go for portraits. This can go for music videos. This can go for corporate interviews. It's that 3-light setup. I'm going to use that key light, okay? You're gonna place that in about a 45-degree angle, and I'm gonna use that fill light. That fill light can either be in front of your subject in that 45-degree angle on the opposite side, but a little bit dimmer than that key light, or you can actually put it nearly behind your subject, 45-degree angle behind your subject. That way you can kind of create an outline on that side, but you can also get more lighting on that side to separate your subject from the background. And of course, the last light you want is going to be the hair light. That really is going to pull your subject from the background, but there you go. You have your 3-point lighting, and that can apply to any type of content you're creating. So for most of the inspiration that Victoria sent over with this look, the subject was actually on the floor, which means I had to relight the scene. So I have to bring that softbox down. I have to move all the softboxes to actually light her on the floor, including bringing that hair light down, bringing that PavoTube down some so that I can make sure that she's properly lit while she's on the floor. And let me tell you something, she went through pain. Let me tell you why. That's hardwood, okay? She's got both of her knees on hardwood and she's being a trooper and she's taking one for the team. Every time she tried to get up, I could hear her knees cracking, but it was okay, all right? It was worth it. You gotta do what you gotta do for the shot, all right? You just gotta take one for the team. The other thing you'll see in this video is that I'm really about directing models. So if I see something, I'm gonna tell them. If you have an accessory or something in your pose, maybe using your hands, I'm going to try my best to direct you through it. So I'm gonna give you cues. I'm gonna place my hands. I may even try to duplicate the pose myself that I'm looking for and embarrass myself in the process. And you'll see in some of these clips, like, I'm willing to contort my body like I'm going through an exorcism. It doesn't matter. Whatever it takes for the model to understand the shot that I'm trying to get into, shot that's going to, make it even better, just to make little adjustments to a pose. I'm taking that sacrifice and I'm gonna do it. Going back to it, play with accessories. Lots of times models, they're gonna wear jewelry, they're gonna wear maybe a watch, maybe a hat, those type of things. So yeah, you wanna get that full body. Yeah, you wanna capture the model, but maybe if you have someone with jewelry on, you wanna play with that ring, maybe even play with their hands with that ring. You have all these tools at your disposal right there on the model. Figure out how to make the shot more interesting with those things that you see around the shot and around the subject. So obviously this is more of a designer type of swimsuit, so you wanna make it sexy, but you still need to sprinkle a little bit of elegance in there. So when I'm talking about the A7 IV, I love the sharpness I'm getting out of the pictures. It's really tack sharp on our eyes. I just always love the way skin looks like in the new Sony cameras. Not the old ones, not the A7 III, the A7 IV. Skin tones look really good, and I'm really able to get the contrast that I want. And understand I'm using these bright lights, so I want to have enough dynamic range to do whatever I want with the skin. I want to have enough dynamic range to play with the highlights, play with the shadows. And what I love about these cameras at 32, 33 megapixels, I'm able to get a lot of detail. And this is coming from a person that used the Canon R5. And what I love about this camera is it punches so far above its weight class. If I shot these photos with something like the A1, I still wouldn't be able to get the same results. Yeah, it'll be a little bit sharper when I zoom in, but 33 megapixels is more than enough to make sure you can crop and get the proper shots that you need. So look 3, all right? So apparently there's this new trend that I have not heard about, and I'm just out of the loop because I'm an old man. This coastal cowgirl thing. Well, like, I have no idea where it came from, but either way, that's what we went to. And Victoria even had a shirt that said cowboy pillows, and you go ahead and convey and put together what you think that means. But either way, we went with the lower body, swimsuit, and she had the shirt on. But if you're gonna have the whole cowboy thing, of course you got to throw in a hat. She has the hat, she has the boots, so she's really mixing it up a lot here. So that's the inspo. There's the coastal cowgirl look, and pretty much again going back to what I said about accessories. She has this hat. Well, guess what? We're gonna make some shots and we're gonna play with the hat. And another tip I was saying you'll see in this footage is, if you have a model that knows their poses, it's easier for them to just keep moving. And the reason why is because if they know that they're in that flow, you don't know how many shots, like good shots, you're gonna get out of that model just moving. So I like to shoot sometimes at a higher shutter speed, like 1/320, 1/400, and that way I can get those tack sharp images while my model is moving around, getting into that flow. Again, we did a lot of different posing with the hat. The whole point of the hat being there is to really set the theme. So why not, use this hat as the main, prop, the main thing that helps her and guides her through her posing. Now, the specialty light, okay? The specialty light, I told you about the Nanlite 4s, the 300B, the 150, the Pavo tube. Now we're gonna switch it up. And the reason why I'm switching it up is because I'm looking at this coastal cowgirl thing, and I'm thinking about, Westerns, thinking about the Western movies. What you think about that is like the sun, really warm, golden hour look. So when you have something like the Nanlite 4s or 300B, that means you can take that, that tone from just a cooler tone to a warmer tone. So I'm not only using that Nanlite 4s or 300B, I'm using a light from Small Rig called the RC120B, which is also bicolored. So I'm switching those two lights to 3200 Kelvin. So what I'm doing is I'm dimming those lights, and what I want from that is to make sure that my Small Rig RC120B is now the main light that is lighting her. So keep in mind the Nanlite 4s or 300 still on, the 150 still on, the Pavo tube still on, but they're lowered, so now the Small Rig light can outpower them. And we're going to be using the Snoot, which is the Godox SA17, and I just want to kind of create that spotlight that also looks like the sun, because I'm changing that Kelvin to 3200 Kelvin. So now we have this sunlight, this golden hour look that goes with her cowboy hat, that goes and gives her a good silhouette. And the main thing I wanted you to see is that silhouette from the cowboy hat. The fun way I like to use Snoots is directing that light on the subject, okay? Not around and not past her, but directly on her, again, so I can cast a nice shadow, and it's going to light her. And what I love about that golden light, that warm tone from a light, especially on, you know, skin, is that it really makes us pop, especially if you have like a darker complexion like me. If you put like a 3200 Kelvin, you know, I always tell people of color especially, looks really, really good. It mixes very well when you're mixing those warm tones with that darker complexion. But there you go. I hope within this video, you know, watching the BTS and like, you know, getting a little bit of an overview from me of the shoot, you know, I hope that you have learned something, and I hope you can take some of these tips, you know, into your own shoots. Again, this 3 lighting setup, you can use it for anything that come to mind. It doesn't matter the setting, it doesn't matter, you know, the type of genre of whatever you're shooting. Comment down below, let me know what you think of some of the shots, and yeah, you know, like, comment, subscribe to your boy, as I always say, and I will see you all in the next video. I love y'all.